makes this nation tick. Over 500 indigenous spoken languages, with more than 250 ethnic groups scattered around the country. Two top fast-rising, functional and modern cities, Lagos as its commercial nerve center and Abuja as the federal capital territory. Nigeria also accounts for about 2.2% of the world's total oil reserves. And talking about the culture, from the arts to music, movies, entertainment, and tourism, Nigeria is replete with massive talents, and yet it possesses a huge reservoir of human capital. All of these together in one, undoubtedly, you're looking at one of the world's most blessed countries. And when sometimes you hear of just the bad and ugly, do always remember this: Nigeria is better together, and there are so many reasons why.
Nigeria means unity.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
Nigeria means freedom to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
Nigeria means greatness to me.
Nigeria means home.
It seems that the symbol of Nigeria's union is way deeper than just the national flag. It is a journey that is clearly more than any of its spoken languages, indigenous songs, or tribal dances.
We thank God for keeping us, because the crisis we went through, if you compare to other nations in the world, Nigeria will not be where we are now. But we thank God as we continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together, and knowing fully well that what God has ordained to be in terms of our languages, different in our languages, different in our religion, different in geographical position, that one is God making. God made it, and it had to be like that.
Our diversity is our strength. Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength, despite the fact that we have multiple ethnic groups and clan and also race, but we've been able to live together in peace and harmony as a nation. It has been the strength of our nation. It has been the fulcrum and the bedrock of what makes Nigeria one of the greatest nations on the surface of the earth.
To agree that a country is an aggregate of purpose means that, like life, Nigeria readily lends itself to the very fact that it is an embodiment of several constituent parts. Its diverse, yet inherent body of culture is a uniquely positioned composite unit, intrinsically woven in a manner that establishes linkages with all parts of the country.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
The uniqueness of Nigeria as a diverse, country cannot be overemphasized, because Nigeria is a country with over 250 ethnic groups. If you look at the length and breadth of this country, from Maiduguri, to Sokoto, or from Sokoto to Onitsha, or from Lagos to Damaturu, all over the country, you have so many ethnic groups. over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country that, God has kept, together as one indivisible entity.
Even as modernization broadens in Nigeria, a good number of communities have significantly retained mixed socio-cultural ideals and practices. They have mostly transcended time, reminiscent of an era when socio-cultural borders hardly existed. This lady thinks she is symbolic of that period.
My name is Honorable Dr. Olubumi Uwazuronye Sybil Usim Wilson. I am a Nigerian for real, the real McCoy. My father is Igbo from Abriba. My mother is Yoruba. My father, my baby's father is from Igbore, Abeokuta. And my husband is from Nasarawa, Igon. That is me. That is who I am. And my grandmother is actually from Portuguese and from Akwa Ibom. Yes, married from Rivers in Douglas family. You see? So when there is dysfunctional nation, where will all of us go?
History recounts that such level of integration predates Nigeria's independence and forged the very premise for the country's quest for self-rule.
Prior to independence, I consider them the greatest Nigerians that have so far lived. Samadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and Wefi Nnamdi Azikiwe. They painstakingly negotiated the basis for existence, our existence in Nigeria, enshrined in the Constitution leading to independence. And they left that as a legacy for us. And let's face it, that Constitution was the basis for unity, basis for prosperity. And all the parts of the country were growing.
But since the early stages of Nigeria's nationhood, the country has constantly faced the challenge of building a modern African nation whilst giving maximum utility to component elements of ethnicities, cultures, and the aspirations of citizens. The system's response to this challenge ranged from pragmatic management to neglect and maybe catastrophic mismanagement. The Nigerian Civil War remains one of the devastating experiences in the country's history, if not the most. However, the cessation of hostilities heralded a period of national rebirth and the renewed will to never again fall prey to the dictates of hatred, tribalism, segregation, and other unhealthy hostilities that have been the bedrock of recurring issues bedeviling the Nigerian polity. And where doubts have shrouded the prospects of a united Nigeria, the country's young and elite minds continue to clear these doubts. 53 years after the war and 5 decades since the establishment of an initiative like the National Youth Service Scheme.
I met Christians, idol worshippers, Muslims, everybody. We are just like a family here. So there is nothing, we are not showing difference to each other. So we are just one Nigerian here. We are okay to each other.
But in all, there's the high level of tolerance here, which is a very good key to foster unity. We are very tolerating here, and it has been a very good one so far. Recently, I've made a lot of friends, a lot of Muslim friends like Mudasiu, Yusuf, and the rest. And it has been a wonderful experience.
Personally, before I came to camp, I was like kind of depressed or something. So like coming to camp as maybe the exercise, meeting new people, like interacting with them, like has actually lifted me up.
The experience I've had, it is priceless. So what a lot of people should do is that know people firsthand before you start to think everybody is like them.
I want to urge all our core members to take this peaceful coexistence outside the camp. Let's leave the camp relating to each other as brothers and sisters. And by so doing, there will be peace and harmony in our dear country, Nigeria.
In this house until you have completed your NYC in Bauchi.
This is not the kind of trip we want to remember.
Apparently, even a lot of movies in Nigeria's Nollywood have important national and life lessons. Such messages generally infer that Nigeria's diversity, with proper framing, could be turned into a unifying motive.
One of the major factors that bind people together is entertainment, be it football, music, movies, whatever. You know, when we talk about entertainment, it's a circle where people don't talk about tribalism, people don't talk about religious differences, people don't talk about states they come from or regions they come from in Nigeria. So this industry is like a center where the entire youths in the nation converge.
Do you know that Nollywood has really tried? You know, that I can't speak Hausa, but I've done a movie in Hausa. I still maintain that language, culture, food, everything will be done together by all of us, and then the name Nigeria can come in.
Out in the real world, unity may seem a tough call, yet most would agree it is Nigeria's destiny to achieve greatness as one indivisible entity.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another. And they maintain very good cordial relationship among the people. Just for example, from here, if you go to South, you will be accepted as a Nigerian, and you will get all the rights and privileges. And from South or any other places, if you come to this part of the nation, the Northeast, and Borno in particular, we receive you very well and extend all the necessary cooperation and assistance. We live very peacefully, and we are very grateful.
For many reasons, national unity is often used synonymously with national integration. Sometimes, a seeming simple operation like driving across the river Niger speaks volume and is deepening symbolic of the bonds between two geographical constituent units.
Here in Onitsha, people are doing their trading, no any problem. They know that we are not facing any harm. Even not for Onitsha, even the whole Anambra state, in this moment we have peace. Most of our people, then they do their business. Most of them, some, then they sell their traders inside market. Some they waka inside street. Some they are going village to village.
It is much the same for Christians even when they are outside of their states of origin. There is an increasing clarity in the public domain on the core issue of fundamental unity in the dominant religions in Nigeria.
We have one God, one world, and one people. Our thirst, our hunger is same. We hunger for justice, we thirst for peace, we thirst for truth. We hunger for dignity and a sense of value. So, since we come from God and we recognize that, nothing prevents us from living in peace.
We can go to church, our children will go to school, our wives and the husband will go to market and come back without any problem. We give God, all the glory.
I feel free. I enter the city, I enter the government house, I enter places, and I'm given my recognition. As Madam Mary, nobody tries to force his own belief or her own belief on me. I'm respected for whom I am. And that also make our relationship with my people, colleagues, my neighbors to just be worthwhile. I think for me as a person, it has been good.
Even in a family, we know that the crisis happen even among the children of the same mother. So there is no need, to run away. To say, let us go our separate ways is like saying, okay, let us sweep our problems under the carpet. It is important that we deal with it, we understand it, and then we begin to move from what you call religious freedom to religious responsibility. What does it mean? It means that you have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
One of the most important diversities is religion. But the good thing is that these religions are all from one God and coming from one source that share a lot of the fundamentals. Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
For every nation, community, or persons that desires growth and development, unity is central. Unity as a process factors the inclusion of various groups that have different social and cultural background into one physical entity. Women, for instance, have tangible records of religious and social activities which promote peaceful correlation and economic development.
So if we go back to the days of yore, we find that when there is war, when there is community war, communal war, tribal wars, and it is people that actually brought peace back to the community where the women.
If you look at our activities, being the mother organization of all women non-governmental in the country, we went for advocacy campaign, in all our states. We have our branches in all the 36 states and the FCT. We preach, we advocate for peace.
Therefore, if you have women in politics, in political offices, I'm not talking about the grassroots people that are clapping and dancing. I'm talking about being in control in politics, political offices, like chairman of a party, secretary of a party, and so on, to control the party. She would douse this religious problem. She would douse this cultural diversity that we have. If you have them now in power, in governance, sitting in power, discussing in the villa together with the men, I'm sure when the men bring up these stories about, how are we going to do this? What are we going to take to this zone and this zone? This zone does not belong to us. The woman will say, no, it doesn't work like that. We are all the same. This is Nigeria. Nigeria is one.
Like I used to tell women, I said, if you are not call yourself. If there's a table of discussion and all the seats are occupied by men, go and pick a seat and come and put it in the corner and sit there. If the seats are already occupied, don't just fold your hands and say, well, all the seats have been occupied by men, so there is nowhere for us to go. Go and bring your seat and nobody's going to push you out.
A common characteristic that easily registers across Nigeria's beautiful landscape is the undeniable display of rich cultural heritage, natural resources, and proven intelligence that establishes age-long interactions and a great level of homogeneity in culture among different tribes. Clearly, the inherent different sizes and shapes, races and cultures, faiths, dressings, food and traditions of the people vary only just for each person to tolerate another and to live mutually together for common development.
Nigeria, I am a believer of, Nigeria should be one and indivisible, country. One nation, one destiny.
Harmony is very critical. Harmony is very key. Unity is non-negotiable. We should continue to strive towards how to be our brother's keeper and how to make things better for our nation.
And what do we expect of our leaders? First of all, modesty. Modesty. You have to empathize with the people that you're trying to lead. You have to lead by example. You have to have the vision to drive the country in the right direction. You have to have the courage, because sometimes the vision is not perceived by the average person. But as a leader and a visionary, you have to have the courage to drive the country and build a team. One man does not lead, a team leads.
Our individual being, as God has created us, will continue to be. But our social unity or togetherness must be protected through unity of purpose, economically, socially, and politically.
People of Nigeria, they are very peaceful people. One important thing is that we must learn to live together as citizens of Nigeria, as an indigenous of our respective states. Without cooperation and understanding and love to one another, the country would be in a very difficult situation.
A key part of the Better Together campaign requires much soul-searching about patriotism, good governance and leadership, equity, fairness and social justice, as well as an inspired citizenry. These imperatives for national unity are shared by the North, South, East and West, with the knowledge that Nigeria is a polity that concerns all, and if one part should fall, then the spirit of our collective heritage is lost.
It is true that this country is both ethnically and religiously diverse. But diversity in itself and by itself should not be a problem at all. If anything, diversity has always been a source of strength.
Beyond lamentation of what we have lost, of the kind of persecution that we suffer, of exclusivity, we can actually work towards inclusivity. And religious leaders as serious influencers in Nigeria must participate, get involved in interfaith dialogue to discuss our differences and find a way to come together so that, and give leadership to it.
It's good make all masses understand that we are one for this country. Even we have different languages. Though that different languages, God has created us with different languages, but we are one.
But Nigeria is indivisible. There is nothing you can do. You that you want to break up Nigeria, there is nothing you can do. We all have to salvage it together and learn to love each other. We are indivisible.
As a mother and a leader, I will always preach for peace and unity in this country, because that is the only thing that will give us progress.
Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That is what Nigeria is supposed to be. And it is the woman that does that.
These national symbols have significant meanings and bearing to Nigeria's unity. They are reminders that national unity ensures a proper sense of order, while integration ensures the stability of a state.
When there are no opportunities enough to explore, so we must give the youths opportunity to explore, develop their own development, to get their own intrinsic satisfaction, so that they don't even think of greener pastures, illegal migration, and so on and so forth. they will think more of developing their country if they have the opportunities.
If Nigeria is to rise beyond the status quo to create a society where human potentials truly thrive, where there is economic prosperity and the people live together in harmony, then unity is sacrosanct.